Let me begin today with a thought that changed my life many years ago. Most people think success begins with some grand moment, a miracle, a breakthrough, a stroke of luck. But let me tell you something important. Success doesn't begin in the spotlight. It begins in the sunrise. The truth is, your future is shaped long before the world ever sees you. Long before you send the first email, long before you take the first call, long before the day begins asking for pieces of you. It begins in those quiet minutes when nobody's watching. The minutes most people waste. The minutes the successful use. You see, the morning is the great equalizer. Everybody gets one. The rich, the poor, the disciplined, the distracted all receive the same morning. But only a few turn it into a foundation for greatness. And here's why. If you control the first hour, you control the day. And if you control the day, my friend, you control your life. Most people don't understand that their mornings are telling a story of discipline, or a story of drift, a story of preparation, or a story of reaction, a story of purpose, or a story of confusion. Some people wake up in the day tumbling from bed straight into chaos. But the great ones, they wake up for the day prepared, intentional, already aligned with their purpose before the world can disrupt their path. The morning is your private appointment with your future. Not your job, not your inbox, not other people's emergencies, just you and your destiny. That's why the person who wins the morning becomes the person who wins the year. And the one who wins enough years wins a life. So today we're going to talk about something powerful, something simple yet completely transformative. 3 morning rules that'll make you unstoppable by 9 a.m. Not someday, not next month, tomorrow morning. These rules changed my life. They've changed the lives of millions. And if you practice them faithfully, they will change yours. Because greatness doesn't start when the crowd is cheering. Greatness starts when the alarm clock rings. Before we talk about what to do in the morning, let's talk about what the morning means. Because if you don't understand the philosophy behind the first hour, the techniques won't stick. They'll become chores instead of choices, routines instead of rituals. The first hour of your day is not just another slice of time. It is the command center of your life. It is the moment where the mind is freshest, the world is quietest, and your influence over yourself is at its strongest. Most people don't realize this. They waste the first hour. They give it away to distraction, to noise, to other people's priorities. And then they wonder why the rest of the day seems to run them instead of obey them. But the people who live with intention, the builders, the leaders, the achievers, they understand something essential. The day doesn't begin at 9 a.m. It begins the moment you open your eyes. That first hour writes the script for everything that follows. Get it right, and the day flows with clarity. Get it wrong, and you spend the rest of your time trying to catch up. Let me put it in simple terms. Your morning is the architect of your attitude. Your attitude is the architect of your actions. And your actions are the architect of your destiny. So if you change the morning, you change the whole design. You know, people often say, Jim, I just can't get control of my life. And I tell them, my friend, don't try to control your life. Just control your morning. Life will follow. Why? Because the morning is a mirror. It reflects your philosophy, your discipline, your priorities, and your self-respect. If the first hour is intentional, the day becomes intentional. If the first hour is chaotic, the day becomes chaotic. The morning is also the great revealer. It shows you what you truly value, not what you claim to value, but what you actually value. You say you value health? Check the first hour. You say you value learning? Check the first hour. You say you value purpose? Check the first hour. Your life follows the direction of your first decisions, not the big decisions, the early ones. And here's another truth. The world is loud, but the morning is quiet. That quiet is your gift, a gift to think, to design, to strengthen, to become clear. Because once the world wakes up, my friend, it starts pulling you in every direction. Your job wants you. Your family wants you. Your inbox wants you. The world wants a piece of you before you've even had a chance to develop yourself. That's why the morning must belong to you, the best of you, the wisest of you, the most disciplined version of you. You've heard me say it. We all must suffer one of two pains, the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. The morning is where you choose discipline now or regret later. So before we talk about the 3 rules that make you unstoppable by 9 a.m., remember this philosophy. The first hour is your foundation, and every structure rises or collapses on the strength of its foundation. Build the morning, and you build the life. Now let's begin with the first morning rule. And if you only learn one idea from our entire time together, let it be this one. Because this principle, more than anything else, separated the life I used to live from the life I eventually built. Here it is. Simple and powerful. Don't start your day until you've finished it on paper. Most people, good people, hardworking people, they wake up and walk directly into the unknown. No map, no blueprint, no priorities. Just hopes, wishes, and whatever the world throws at them by 8 a.m. And that, my friend, is a dangerous way to live. Because if you don't decide what your day will be, someone else will decide it for you. Your boss will decide it. Your phone will decide it. Your distractions will decide it. And none of those things have your dreams in mind. Planning your day is not a chore. It's not a burden. It's an act of self-respect. It's how you announce to the world, I am a person of direction, not a person of drift. Let me tell you how this works. The best time to plan tomorrow is tonight, when the noise of the day has settled, when your mind is calm, when you can think as a designer, not a firefighter. Just 10 minutes, a pen, a piece of paper, a clear mind. That's all you need. Sit down and ask 3 simple questions. 1. What matters most tomorrow? 2. What must get done? 3. What can wait? Write it down. Put it in order. Give your future self the clarity he'll need when the alarm clock rings. Because here's the truth. You can't trust your morning emotions, but you can trust the plan you wrote last night. At 6 a.m., you might not feel disciplined. You might not feel inspired. You might not feel ready. But the plan doesn't care about mood. The plan whispers, here's what we decided. Let's go. That's the gift of finishing your day on paper. It removes debate. Most people lose hours every morning arguing with themselves about what to do next. The disciplined don't argue. They execute. And let me give you a metaphor. An architect doesn't show up to the construction site and decide, well, let's see what we feel like building today. No, the blueprint is already drawn. The structure is already designed. The materials are already chosen. Your day should work the same way. A written plan is your blueprint for progress. And here's something interesting. Your mind loves clarity. Your energy increases when you know where to go. Your confidence grows when you know what to do. That's why the people who plan the night before wake up with momentum, while those who don't wake up with confusion. Now, don't make this complicated. We're not designing a rocket. We're designing your day. Just list your top 3 priorities, what I call the vital few. If you complete those, the day counts as a success. Everything else is optional. Everything else is extra. Everything else can wait. The undisciplined spend their time. The productive invest it. And the investment begins with a pen, a plan, and a promise to yourself. I will not step into tomorrow until I've designed it. Do this one habit consistently. Tonight, tomorrow, next week. And you'll feel something extraordinary. A quiet certainty. A sense of control. A direction that most people never experience. Why? Because you're no longer living by accident. You're living by design. That's morning rule Haishon. Commit to it, and you'll begin to feel the foundation of discipline beneath your feet. Now let's move to the second morning rule, one that determines the state of your mind, your attitude, and your entire emotional climate for the day. And here's the rule. Feed your mind before the world feeds it for you. My friend, the world is busy. The world is noisy. The world has opinions, demands, problems, emergencies, and if you open the door too early, all of it will come rushing into your mind before you've had a chance to prepare yourself. Too many people make the mistake of beginning their day with the worst possible habit, the phone. Before their feet touch the floor, they invite the entire world into their mind, the news, the messages, the gossip, the arguments, the expectations. And let me tell you, that is a terrible bargain, because you are trading the most precious minutes of your day for the most destructive inputs of your day. Your mind is a garden, and the morning is when the soil is richest. If you plant weeds first, you spend the rest of the day pulling them out. That's why you must take charge of the first thoughts that enter your mind, not by accident, but by design. The moment you wake up, you must decide, who gets to speak to my mind first today, the world or my purpose? And let me recommend something that will change your life. Let purpose speak first. Let wisdom speak first. Let inspiration speak first. Let discipline speak first. Because whatever speaks first in the morning often speaks loudest throughout the day. Now, what does it mean to feed your mind? It means you give yourself something nourishing, not junk food for the brain, but a meal of quality ideas. You could read a few pages from a good book. You could listen to something uplifting, a message, a lecture, a piece of philosophy. You could review your goals, your plans, your dreams. You could write a few thoughts in your journal, clearing out the clutter and strengthening your intention. It doesn't take much, not an hour, not a full course, not a seminar. Just 10 minutes of quality thinking can transform the entire tone of your day. Because here's the truth. You become what you think about, and what you think about is shaped by what you feed your mind. If you feed it negativity, it will produce worry. If you feed it chaos, it will produce confusion. If you feed it gossip, it will produce small thinking. If you feed it inspiration, it will produce courage. If you feed it wisdom, it will produce discipline. If you feed it truth, it will produce direction. The mind is obedient. It gives you a harvest based on the seeds you plant. So be deliberate, be selective, be intentional. In the morning, guard your mind like a fortress. Stand watch at the door. Let only quality ideas enter. You see, you can't control every event that comes into your day, but you can control the philosophy that interprets those events. You can't control what people will say, but you can control the mindset that receives their words. You can't control all the challenges you'll face, but you can control the strength with which you face them. And that strength begins with the first thoughts of your morning. So tomorrow, don't let your phone be the first voice you hear. Don't let the news be the first story you consume. Don't let the world be the first influence that shapes your mind. Take 10 minutes. Feed your mind. Strengthen your spirit. Give yourself the mental nutrition required to walk into the day with clarity and confidence. Because when you feed your mind before the world feeds it for you, you become the one who shapes the day instead of the one who survives it. That's morning rule #2. Practice it with diligence, and you will walk through your day with a sharper mind, a stronger attitude, and a steadier grip on your direction. Now let's move to morning rule #3. And this one, my friend, may be the most practical, the most immediately powerful, the most confidence-building principle you will ever add to your life. Here it is. Win one victory early. That's the rule. Win one victory, not 10, not 12, not the whole day, just one. But win it early. Because the human spirit runs on momentum. When you begin the day with a win, you create the energy for the second win, and the second win builds courage for the third. And by the time the world wakes up, you've built more progress before breakfast than most people build by dinner. Most people underestimate the power of a small, early victory. They think progress must be dramatic, an hour of exercise, a major breakthrough, a miracle of productivity. But that's not how success works. Success is the sum of small disciplines practiced consistently. And the morning is where you choose your first discipline. Now, what does a victory look like? Let me tell you something important. It doesn't matter what the win is. It matters that you win. It can be physical, a quick workout, a stretch routine, a walk. It can be mental, reading a few pages, reviewing your goals, journaling your thoughts. It can be productive, finishing a small task that moves your life forward. It can be personal, cleaning your space, organizing your desk, preparing your meals. The size of the victory is not the point. The timing is the point. You win before the world has a chance to distract you. Because if you wait until the afternoon for your first win, you'll be tired. If you wait until the evening, you'll be overwhelmed. If you wait until later, most often later never comes. But early belongs to you. Early is where your willpower is strongest. Early is where your mind is clearest. Early is where you can prove to yourself quietly, confidently that you are in charge today. Let me give you a metaphor. If a train moves at full speed, it can crash through a steel barrier. But if that same train is standing still, a single block of wood can stop it cold. Momentum is the difference. And morning victories create momentum. When you start your day with a win, you speak to your mind in a powerful way. You say, "Look at that, I said I would, and I did." That sentence, my friend, is worth more than gold. It builds self-trust. And when a person trusts themselves, their confidence becomes nearly unshakable. But when you begin your day with delay or avoidance or "I'll do it later," you undermine your own credibility. You send your mind the opposite message. "I can't rely on me." And that message is devastating. Not immediately, oh no. Slowly, quietly, one broken promise at a time, until the person looks in the mirror and sees a stranger. But a person who wins early, a person who honors the first promise of the day, that individual becomes a builder of self-respect. And self-respect is the birthplace of discipline. So tomorrow morning, pick one task, just one, and win it early. Do it before the noise. Do it before the excuses. Do it before the world begins its demands. Because when you win one victory early, you become something rare, a person with momentum. And momentum, once it begins, can carry you through the entire day with strength, purpose, and confidence. That's morning rule #3. Practice it. And watch how your days begin to stack with small wins that compound into major success. Now, my friend, let's take these 3 rules and bring them together into something you can practice tomorrow morning, the next morning, and every morning after that. Because principles are powerful, yes, but principles become life-changing only when they turn into patterns. Success is not something you stumble into. Success is something you schedule. So let me give you what I call the 60-minute Rohn morning formula. 1 hour, 60 minutes, 4 simple segments, and a lifetime of benefit. Use this formula, and you will walk into every day with clarity, confidence, and control. 3 things that, once you have them, life becomes a very different experience. Let's break it down. Minute 1, 10, preparation and awareness. The first 10 minutes set the tone. Wake up without negotiation. Don't bargain with the pillow. Don't argue with the alarm clock. Discipline must win the first decision of the day. Stand up. Drink a little water, stretch your body, breathe deeply, shake off the sleep. Then, and this is important, review the plan you wrote last night. Look at your handwritten priorities. Remind yourself, this is what matters. This is what I chose. This is what the day is for. In 10 minutes, you've done something that 90% of people never do. You have aligned your energy with your purpose before the world demands anything from you. Minute 11. 20. Feed your mind. Next 10 minutes, nourish your thoughts. Read a few pages of something worthwhile. Listen to something uplifting or educational. Meditate on your goals. Reflect on your values. Give your mind something high quality, not gossip, not chaos, not fear, not noise. Because if you don't feed your mind intentionally, the world will feed it accidentally. And the world's diet is usually full of sugar, salt, and poison. Use these minutes to strengthen the philosophy that carries you through the day. Just 10 minutes of good ideas can outweigh 10 hours of challenges. Minute 21:40, win your first victory. Now we enter the engine of the morning, the place where momentum begins. Choose one meaningful action and complete it. This could be a short workout, a chapter of study, a journal entry, a skill practice session, a small but important task, something that makes you say, yes, I've already moved my life forward today. The key is that you finish it before the world interrupts, before the messages, before the meetings, before the demands. This is the part of the morning that builds that quiet confidence, because nothing feels better than keeping the first promise you made to yourself. One victory completed early becomes the psychological fuel for the entire day. Minute 4160 sets your direction. Now we finish strong. These final 20 minutes create intention, focus, and emotional steadiness. Look again at your top 3 priorities. Not the 10 small tasks. The 3 big ones. The ones that build your career, strengthen your health, improve your relationships, grow your mind. Next, remove one distraction. Turn off a notification. Block a time-wasting app. Clean a small space. Little acts of simplicity create big acts of clarity. Then take one quiet moment. Just breathe. Visualize the day unfolding according to your design. See yourself focused. See yourself calm. See yourself disciplined. Because your mind performs better when it rehearses winning. And finally, say one sentence, a sentence that sets your emotional tone. Something like, I am prepared. I am disciplined. I am the architect of my day. I follow through. I am becoming better. Give your mind something firm to stand on. In 60 minutes, just 1 hour, you've built a foundation of discipline, purpose, and momentum that most people never experience in an entire day. Not because you worked harder, but because you worked intentionally. Discipline is not about doing more. It's about doing what matters first. And once the morning belongs to you, the rest of the day becomes easier to shape. Now that we've built the structure of the morning, let's talk about something deeper, something invisible but powerful, something that separates those who rise from those who drift, something I call the psychology of momentum. My friend, human beings don't move in straight lines. We don't operate like machines, consistent, predictable, steady all day long. We operate on emotion. We operate on energy. We operate on momentum. Momentum is that wonderful force that makes discipline feel natural and makes progress feel effortless. It's the wind at your back instead of the weight on your shoulders. It's the spark that becomes a flame. It's the small push that turns into a powerful drive. And here's the important truth. Momentum begins in the morning. Why? Because the morning is the only part of the day that hasn't yet been contaminated by noise, distraction, or fatigue. It's clean. It's fresh. It's yours. If you win the morning, you build momentum. If you lose the morning, you spend the rest of the day trying to recover from that loss. Let me explain this in simple terms. When you keep your first promise of the day, when you follow your plan instead of your mood, when you feed your mind instead of your impulses, when you win one victory early, you give yourself a message. I can count on me. And let me tell you, that message is worth more than a paycheck, a promotion, or a pat on the back. Because when a person begins to trust themselves, they no longer need external motivation. They become internally driven, the strongest kind of drive there is. Most people never experience this. They start their day losing small battles. Snooze again. Skip the plan. Ignore the priorities. Reach for the phone. Delay the first task. And every one of those slips sends a message too. I guess we're not serious today. And that message shapes the rest of the day more than you think. Your morning decisions create your emotional identity for the next 12 hours. Win early. Think like a winner all day. Lose early. Think like a struggler all day. Momentum is emotional. It's psychological. It's spiritual. It's the feeling that you are in motion, moving, becoming, advancing. When you stack small wins early, the brain says, we're progressing, let's keep going. It unlocks focus. It increases willpower. It reduces procrastination. It boosts self-esteem. And on the other hand, when you start with indecision, delay, confusion, or chaos, your brain says, we're behind, let's survive. And survival mode kills creativity, discipline, and ambition. That's why the morning is so critical. It's not about time. It's not about hours. It's not about schedules. It's about identity. It's about confidence. It's about the story you tell yourself before the world tells you its own. The morning gives you a psychological advantage that compounds throughout the day. And once you've felt that momentum, once you've had a morning where every action aligns with your purpose, you'll never want to go back to the old way of living. It's too powerful, too rewarding, too energizing. When you control the morning, you begin walking into the day differently. Calmer, clearer, more capable, more certain, more confident, more in charge of your life. You stop reacting and you start directing. You stop drifting and you start designing. You stop hoping and you start becoming. That is the psychology of momentum. Once you master it, your mornings will stop being ordinary moments and start becoming the launch pads of your greatness. Now, my friend, ideas are wonderful. Principles are powerful. But nothing changes until you put the ideas to work. You can read a book, you can watch a video, you can attend a seminar, and those things are valuable. But the real transformation begins when you say, let me test this in my life. Let me try it for myself. So let me give you something simple, practical, and life-altering. A 7-day challenge that will show you the power of disciplined mornings. Not in theory, but in experience. I call it the 7-day Unstoppable by 9 a.m. challenge. 7 mornings, 7 chances to change the trajectory of your life. Follow these steps carefully. They build on each other. They're simple, but they're not easy. They are the small disciplines that reveal your true potential. Let's break it down. Day 1 and 2, finish the day on paper. For the first 2 days, don't worry about the whole morning routine. Just master this one habit. Plan tomorrow, tonight. Sit down before bed, not for an hour, not even for 20 minutes, just 10 minutes. Write your top 3 priorities for the next day. Put them in order. Prepare your mind with clarity before sleep. And then, the next morning, simply follow the plan you wrote when you were thinking clearly. This is your first step out of drifting and into designing. Day 3 and 4, feed your mind first. During days 3 and 4, keep the planning habit, but now add a new discipline. For the first 10 minutes of the morning, before you check your phone, before you open your inbox, before you face the world, feed your mind. Read something that lifts you. Listen to something that teaches you. Reflect on something that strengthens you. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to nourish the thoughts that produce strong decisions. For 2 days, guard your mind like treasure because it is. Day 5 and 6, win one victory early. Now we add the third habit. By day 5, you're already planning your evenings and feeding your mind in the mornings. Now it's time to prove something to yourself. Choose one meaningful action and complete it early before the world interrupts. It could be a 10-minute workout, a small writing session, a gratitude journal entry, a key work task, reading 10 more pages, cleaning a small space, practicing a skill you want to master. The activity doesn't matter. The completion does. For 2 days, taste the power of early victory. Day 7, combine all 3. Now comes the breakthrough. Day 7 is your first full unstoppable morning. All 3 rules together in one flow. Tonight, write tomorrow on paper. Tomorrow morning, feed your mind with something excellent. Then win one early victory. This will take you less than an hour, but the feeling will last the entire day. You'll walk with clarity because you designed the day. You'll walk with strength because your mind is nourished. You'll walk with confidence because you proved you can rely on yourself. And once you experience this combination, once you feel what it's like to walk into the world already aligned, already prepared, already victorious, you'll have a choice to make. Go back to drifting or continue designing. And I promise you, once you've lived one day unstoppable, you'll never want to go back to the old way again. 7 days. That's all. 7 mornings to discover the person you can become when you align discipline, purpose, and momentum. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's not talent. It's habit. It's intention. It's design. That is the 7-day Unstoppable by 9 a.m. challenge. Try it, and you may just meet a stronger version of yourself you've been waiting far too long to meet. My friend, let me close our time together with a truth so simple, so profound, that it can change the course of a life in a single evening. Here it is. Your life changes the moment your mornings change. Not when you get the promotion, not when you find the perfect opportunity, not when circumstances improve, or people behave better, or the world becomes easier. No, life changes the moment you change, the way you show up to it. And nothing determines how you show up more than the way you begin your day. Success is not built in the big moments. Success is built in the quiet moments, the unseen moments, the early moments. Success is built when the alarm rings and you rise instead of rolling over. Success is built when you sit with your notebook and finish the day on paper before it begins. Success is built when you feed your mind truth before the world feeds it noise. Success is built when you win one small victory early, proving to yourself that you are in charge of your story. These habits may seem simple, almost too simple, but that's the mystery of greatness. It hides in the small disciplines that most people overlook. A person doesn't become unstoppable in one dramatic act. A person becomes unstoppable in the daily practice of discipline, small steps, repeated with intention, until their character hardens, their confidence rises, and their life begins to obey the direction of their purpose. You don't have to rebuild your entire world today. Just rebuild the first hour. Just control the morning. Just begin the day with strength instead of struggle. Because when you win the morning, you win the day. And when you win enough days, you win your life. Let this be the moment you draw a line between drifting and designing, between reacting and responding, between hoping and becoming. Decide tonight, not tomorrow. Tonight that the next sunrise will be different. Decide that the morning will belong to you. Decide that your future self deserves a disciplined architect, not an accidental wanderer. Greatness is not an event. Greatness is a habit, and it begins in the first hour of the day. So go home with a new intention. Lay your clothes out. Prepare your notebook. Write your plan. Set your mind. Choose your victory. Then wake tomorrow with a spirit that says, I am ready. I am disciplined. I am the architect of this day. Do this once, you'll feel better. Do it for a week, you'll see progress. Do it for a month, you'll feel transformation. Do it for a year, and the world will not recognize the person you've become. My friend, the future is watching. Your potential is waiting, and the morning is calling your name. Answer it with discipline. Answer it with intention. Answer it with the best version of yourself. And soon, very soon, you will become unstoppable.